everybody, Chris Wall here, along with...
Where are we looking? There?
That guy right over there.
Oh, there, that big camera. Hi, everybody.
Andrew Peterson's with us tonight, everybody. Yeah!
Nice to be here.
Now you know it's a real live stream.
I don't know if that's true, but...
You're not digital, right? You're actually here?
I'm actually here. I'm only in analog.
Season 2, Episode 2 is out in the world, and tonight we're here to talk about all the stuff that we saw, experienced, and answer your questions. We have a whole section of Q&A at the end, so if you've got those questions, got them for us. I've been hanging out in the chat a little bit, and a couple of people said they had like 10, 12 questions for you. There was a question about how we make the sounds for the rock roach, which was actually in the last episode. I need Adam to demo that for us. Have you heard him do the sucking sound?
Oh, I have. One time I heard him do it. Yeah.
Okay, so Adam, our sound designer, does this like inhale screech, right? That he layers in on top as like the primary thing for that creature. Yeah. It's awesome.
It was either that or we just held Chris down and tickled him.
We had two options. That's all we had.
We went with Adam.
Hey, the good news is Andrew and I are wearing different Wingfeather merch tonight.
Wait, did we wear the same one?
No, but there's always the risk.
Yes.
There's always that shirt was out. I was thinking about it. Really? But I'm wearing I haven't worn this before. Have you seen it? In the back, it has this.
Oh, yeah.
Really
it's
cool
great.
print
I have one.
Yep.
I have I buy all the merch.
You can't stop doing that.
Well, I know. I just do. I want to support the show, man.
Epic early, folks. No, I cannot fight Andrew. But we can rock, paper, scissors. Let's do it. Ready? Rock, paper, scissors, go. Of course you did. Rock, paper, scissors, go. Yeah, well, I turned.
Take that, Chris Wall.
Loaded. All right, we have a really fun show tonight with a special guest, Kellen Goff, the voice of General Khrak. He played Slarb, our big villain from season 1, and also plays Jurgen. He'll be joining us for a cool interview. We had to do it earlier, so it won't actually be in the room with us here, but you'll get to see that in a few minutes. And then we had a sneak peek of episode 3, season 3. I'm jumping ahead. Episode 3, which is one of my favorites for season 2. It features features characters that I love. I'm so excited about. And can't wait to show you that at the end of our time together. And then we're introducing a new thing tonight. I hinted at this on this little video I did earlier, but our friends at Angel Studios have been working hard on just additional ways to make the show special and some things you could bring home. And so we are going to introduce a new thing called Collectibles. And this is a way for you to experience the show at a frame level, as though, I mean, I've walked around like a Disney store and otherwise and seen prints of some of my favorite animated things that may be signed by Walt, right? Or if it was Pixar, maybe it's John or Andrew Stanton. And we're going to do something similar. But to save my wrist and Andrew's wrist, we have a really cool way of doing that digitally. And then you can order a print instead at home. So we actually have a little demo of this. There's one that I signed. Yeah. This is for Xander. And there's one for Alora. So this is a way to like.
And there's only one of these in the world.
And that's yours. Yeah, that's yours. So it's made to you. This is a sweet family that actually got the print and put it above their fireplace. It's a really.
Yeah. Can I just say I was skeptical?
Yeah.
I was like, I'm not sure. I don't know about this whole thing. And then I had a call last week where they kind of demonstrated how this works, and I was like, this is pretty cool. I think that I like it. So.
And a couple people right away said, "Oh, it's just an NFT." No, we're not really into NFT side. Yeah. But it is a collectible that is yours. Up on this shelf, I showed it. Can I go grab this? Hold, please. You keep telling about what you thought of it.
So there I was. Well, no, I was just going to say that, like, I like the idea of there being artifacts, like an actual physical thing, not just a digital bunch of ones and zeros that exist in the world, but like an actual thing that like can hang on the wall and represent something important to you.
Here's an artifact.
Wait, what is that?
Okay, so this is my artifact.
Oh, that's cool. Wait, is that what I think it is?
Yeah, so this was from...
What?
There was a day when you could go to the movie theaters and watch all 3 of the Lord of the Rings extended versions, all back to back. There's my ticket on the bottom.
Wow.
I saved it. And as we finished, this was, December of 2003. As we finished, New Line had these for us. And this is an actual film print inside, a bit of celluloid from one of the prints from each of the 3 films.
See the scenes.
Whoa! Isn't that cool? And it's anamorphic. So
I see Gimli.
Isn't that cool?
That's cool. So that's the idea.
So this is emotionally meaningful to me. Is it worth something at eBay? I don't know. I hope
Right.
not. It's more meaningful to me. That is my favorite version of this, when we can make something that's like something that's meaningful for you, about the show, about the stories.
Yeah, and it's not just like a signature on it, a digital signature. It's also, you can write a message,
a little something,
which is cool. So some of the ones, like somebody bought them for their family, and they kind of wrote a little message that's printed on this one of a kind cell of the show. It's really cool.
Yeah. So somebody heard this story, but way back in the day, Walt Disney, when people would visit his parks, he would hand out celluloids from their animated movies, and because they're kind of like throwaway stuff. And some people kept those, and they're precious to them, right? Yeah. And so that's what we're hoping to do. So we're just telling you about it tonight. It's a new thing that we're going to be rolling out next week. So next week on Tuesday, join us for the live stream, and we'll show you all about it and how it works and get into it. But we wanted to share that news tonight. I thought it was pretty darn cool.
Pretty cool. Yep.
Okay, episode 2 happened. And we want to just bring it. If you haven't seen it, tonight's going to be a whole bunch of spoilers about episode 2. So be warned. But we have a little recap video to kind of get you up to speed with what happened in case you forgot it since Friday. So check out this cool little recap.
What do we do now, Papa? I found steps!
There's only one way this path ends. Khrak wants them alive.
Keep them safe.
Beware.
He's here! Close! Oh, Nag the Nameless.
Cliffhangers!
Yeah, it's so good, you guys.
It's so much like reading your books, because I remember as a dad reading aloud and the chapter's ending and like, wait, what? What happens next?
That was all part of the plan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You mischievous fella.
It's just so good. Like watching the little 40-second thing makes me want to go watch the whole thing again right now.
That episode probably took, if you look at like the episode percentage of labor and time, that single episode took the most work from our team by far.
Yeah.
The water, Keith Lango started working on that, our CG production designer. We were still working in season 1, and he was working on that water because he knew like that's going to be really hard to make the water feel like it was painterly. Mm-hmm. Because the photoreal stuff would break it, and then the mist layers, all of that amazing. Was loads. I
remember in the writing room too, we wrestled so much with, the writing, like how do we convey Nugget's leap?
Mm-hmm.
Well, but then in storyboards, remember all the times we had to reiterate how this all plays out? Like it was just really tricky to get it right, and I think that the team got it right.
I think so. Based on the reactions we've seen so far from all of you that are watching it, it feels like it landed in the right spot. I was really hoping that we could get what ultimately is in the story, which is this heroic turn, right? Mm-hmm. That the choice that he makes, and there's a little change, right? Actually, near the end of the show, we were in production where the troll does a leap and almost hits Poto as he's trying to climb back up. Mm-hmm. And Lily calls across to Nugget, right, of the danger. And he turns and makes the decisive final. And it just, if we just had Nugget die kind of just accidentally, it's just too heavy.
There was a comment from one of the people on Facebook where they just said that they were nervous watching this episode because if it showed what had happened in the books, it would have been too much. Like
that's fair.
Yeah, and I thought so too. I thought that I keep saying the team, I'm just the cheerleader, but just did a really good job of, you feel the gravity of what happened,
right?
But you don't have to see anything that's going to give you nightmares, hopefully. That I thought that they just very tastefully gave Nugget an amazing death.
During the red carpet premiere, I had a little guy sitting behind me and said, Mommy, is Nugget swimming?
Oh, man.
And there was like conversation and then a little sniffle.
Oh man, yeah. Somebody at the premiere was saying that they heard a little girl crawl up in their mom's lap and just start crying, which it's precious and sad and important.
The other thing that was really hard in this episode is it is entirely on one set. So we have, as you've been watching Wingfeather in season 1 and 2, I like to have A, B, and C storylines that you're kind of following different things happening. Everybody's on the bridge. And so we had to come up with ways to kind of break up action. So that in the writer's room really was tough, figuring out how to get, okay, we'll have Poto stay as rear guard. He can deal with Khrak for a bit while the family encounter the bridge and be like, oh no, we can't get past. We'll introduce the trolls as a separate element. We'll have the Fangs advance first, get to the middle. Like there was a lot of geography to figure out for what was a bridge, ultimately really simple.
Yeah. And I also, can I just say, I also love the fact that there's time after it happens. There's like a grieving time, there's such intensity, and then it fades and we're back at the campfire or whatever. And I just think it's so good to have that time to just kind of sit in it for a little while. We didn't
that was actually one of your notes late in it was, I need more time. And we added some shots of the empty bridge and just kind of like give us a little even more, like give me so many seconds of just unpacking. And I have to say, sir, you do a brilliant job of leading us out of that moment as Oscar. So Oscar is the one who ultimately has to take us emotionally from that space into the song, right?
Right.
And it's a great performance, sir. Because
thank you. I did. I remember getting a little emotional. Like I had a genuine lump in my throat when I was saying that in the studio because I was feeling it.
Yeah.
So good writing from Doug McKelvey. Anyway.
And then of course we get this wonderful cliffside scene and the emerging dragons, and this was one of those moments when you're making a story where it's a dreamlike world of water and there's dragons. Like it's like the hardest thing. And so John Sanford, episode director, and Tamal and the team, we just really worked at like, what are the rules of this world? And okay, well, the kids are on ground. So let's, do we see bubbles from the kids' mouth? No, because this is a dream space for them. Do we see bubbles from the dragons? Yes, because they're actually in the water.
Right.
Like working out all to make it all kind of hold together. And it comes up with these iconic shots, right, of Janner floating in front of Jurgen that we couldn't have dreamed of it being as cool as it was. It's certainly not in the boards. Some of the boards are pretty rough, like because it's a character floating in a white space of the storyboard. And when it got to the finish, it's really amazing. Somebody noted this already, but I'll just comment that Holwyn is the sea dragon who carries Nugget to his grave. And in the first cycles, she swam like every other dragon, just quite gracefully. And of course, that's not her story, right? She's a dragon who's been through some things we won't learn until season 3. And so they came back with her kind of lurching. So if you see her in that, that's not an animation mistake. That's very intentional to make it. It's kind of pitiful.
Yeah.
The episode is loaded with a performance by Kellen Goff. He gets to do some great monologuing. He got to do it in the last episode during the gulch there as he's telling you where you're going to run. This one, he has this great scene with he's monologuing with Poto threatening him. And then he bookends it by being Jurgen as well to end the episode. So we had a chance to sit down with Kellen and talk with him about his journey from season 1 all the way into season 2 now. And we're really excited to introduce that to you now. So check out Kellen.
Look who I found. It's that lizard. I hate him.
Hi, guys.
Hi, guys.
See you soon.
Hey, everybody. I am excited to welcome Kellen Goff. Kellen has been with us since season 1, voicing some amazing characters. And season 2, he's back with General Khrak and, of course, Jurgen, the sea dragon. Kellen, good to see you, man.
Great to see you. Thanks for keeping on having me back. There's always a new deep boy or a new bad boy to play, right?
That's right. Okay, so I have to ask right away because this has been one of the fan questions. How can you do these voices and not just lose your voice altogether? Like, it's such an amazing performance. Are there techniques? Do you have to be careful? Like, tell us about how you make this character.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of practice first and foremost. There's not many techniques better than that. But yeah, it's just being able to know your limits and stuff. There's certain DNA where I can place my throat, but yeah, most of the time it's just smooth like butter. It just over time it might start to get stuff raspy. So I always make sure to vocal rest the day after or before, depending, and drink a lot of throat coat tea and ninjam and just know my limits, listen to my body and stuff, you know?
Okay, I was going to ask you, I personally, when I've got done some bad things with my voice, yelling or doing a character voice, throat
I'm
coat is
sorry.
one of my favorite teas.
Yes,
Is that a
yes,
good?
it's fantastic. It is the go-to for many voice actors with loads of honey. I always put in it. It tastes more like honey water than tea when I'm done with it.
That's awesome. Well, last week we had Jody Benson join us and had a lovely chat, and we premiered this new season 2 trailer.
Mm.
In that trailer, you get to bookend it. It's such that
Yeah,
your General Khrak at the beginning, you know, the standoff in episode 1 where they're around the Rockroach Den, and he's like, "You can't negotiate with me. I'm the boss," right? And then and we see this shot in the trailer, which is actually now we know in episode 2 with Jurgen the Sea Dragon, who is
mm,
watching Janner, and it actually episode 2 ends on this cliffhanger of him saying, "He's near you. He's coming after you. You're in trouble." And Janner goes, "Oh no, it's Nag the Nameless," right?
right.
Uh, and it's your voice in both cases. Tell
Yeah.
us about coming up with those characters, because in season 1, for those, let me just say, for fans at home, um, there were a number of scenes where, Kellen, you acted opposite yourself. You were Slarb and
Yeah.
acting opposite Brack, and just talking to yourself. How do you find the character voicing? Because in this case, Khrak and Jurgen are not dissimilar, and yet you make them completely different, I think.
They're in the same range to be sure, but at the end of the day, it's just becoming something different. And if you can, it doesn't matter if they sound the same as long as you convey that they are different people who have gone through different experiences. I think they end up being different people that way.
That's a
Um,
good note. And somebody asked me this question about, I want to be a voice actor. And I was like, okay, well, my question is, can you demonstrate character emotion and empathy? It's not just a funny
yeah,
voice, right? It's not just a funny voice.
no,
It's
not
something
at
else.
all. No, absolutely not. It's really just trying your best to become. Sorry, is my finger in the way here? Trying your best to put yourself in different skin and stuff. And yeah, at first it does take a little bit. At least it did for me to get to that place where you can just snap into different skin. But over time it gets easier. And we had a lot of character building moments during the whole recording and everything. We tried on plenty of different things. For Khrak, I remember us starting off with kind of a you guys wanted a regal but imposing and unnerving yet still smooth kind of thing. So I thought Tim Curry right away,
Oh,
or
yeah, yeah.
as like Frankenfurter or any other of his regal parts, and we tried that, and we just we kept hammering it until it turned the way it is now, and I think it still has a lot of Tim Curry in it. What we ended up with Khrak, but he's really become something all his own, which is what we're shooting for. In the end, anyway, right? And same thing with Jurgen. I remember we wanted something, deep and something that would be fun to listen to, maybe something from UK or somewhere far away, fantasy accent or Celtic kind of thing. So I thought Liam Neeson, because he can really go to places that'll just like it'll take you smoothly somewhere else, but it'll still sound like foreboding and warning and like and all of that. And we again hammered that one into what it was here, and I think Jurgen's really come to be sort of his own sagely being.
Absolutely. And it's interesting because so many of your performances are what give the animators what they need to just go make the character come to life. And of course, General Khrak is absolutely that way. It's interesting, Jurgen, because of course he's communicating in his mind, kind of somewhat telepathic to Janner. And so hearing this voice. And one of the things that we in animation was like, do we want to just have him just stare there blankly? And we opted instead to have him kind of, you see his eyes kind of flinch and like he's pressing it, even though he's not like flapping his jaw, right? Because that's not how it works. So they were trying to find ways through your voice performance to still bring that connection into that character. And so folks at home, if you watch that, you'll see that Jurgen's, there's an intention in the performance that they're drawing from what you've given them, which is really marvelous, I think.
That's the greatest compliment you can give an actor. I'm really, really thrilled to hear that they were inspired based off what we did there. When you become a different person and you're really, really believing what you're saying, then the emotion will always come through, as it does when it's just us saying anything we care about, it'll in one way or another, I'm confident it'll always transfer through in one way or another if you really believe it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I believed it. I believed the writing.
You believed it, all
it's
right.
really great writing, and I love working with great scripts. So thank you for that.
That's fun. Yeah. Oh, yeah. You're welcome. Our pleasure to serve it up. Tell me, General Khrak. This guy in season 1, of course, we established him as this fairly commanding general, and he's got a very interesting character arc. Kellen, we haven't talked about this, but General Khrak appears in season 3.
Oh man,
we've got animatics going on season 3, and but he encounters another leader. Let's just put it that way, no spoil for people. But he encounters another foreboding leader, in which he's got to like have a little this, and it's so cool to see him have to react to that, right? Because in this season, he's the boss, man. Like he's like,
sure,
I'm in control. I get to do whatever I want. This guy has got to be intense, but in this case, he needs these characters alive, right? So it's like if you're the villain, it's a difficult position, right? Like you got to go capture these, but don't hurt them.
A true villain, a good villain, I feel always rises to the challenge. If this is a challenge to keep them alive to get what he wants, then
that's right. And it gives him some monologuing opportunity. Villain monologuing, can we just say? I mean,
like candy.
It is. And then now in episode 2, we get this amazing moment with him at the top of this cliff edge. Poto's down below in the fog. You can't see him. And he's and they're going to have this. And it was one of the coolest scenes to stage in story, where it's two characters talking. It's like a classic standoff, with the cop outside. We're coming in. Nobody wants to shoot, right? And he's up at the top, and he's given Poto this, and he is able. It's almost a Christoph Waltz kind of thing, where he's clearly in control. Yeah. And it's like, he says in the monologue, I don't even have to chase you. I just have to nudge you a little and you're going to fall off into the waterfall. Like, you're done for. What are you even doing down there, old man with a peg leg? And he's just like getting under Poto's skin.
It's always so fun to play confident characters like that who just like know how it's going to go. And I feel like it makes the fall even more satisfyingly terrific, if it even happens.
If it happens, we don't know.
Yeah, he is quite competent, I don't think he's going down easy.
In the middle of this, of course, we had this amazing moment where he has to like yell at the trolls, right? Because they throw rocks down at our family, like they could squish them, right?
I play the trolls too, if I remember. So I'm yelling at myself again.
Great troll voicing in there. Yeah.
Another instance of Kellen yelling at Kellen.
And then all that energy builds up to it's a Fang. I think I play this other Fang saying, "But sir, they're getting away," whatever.
Yeah.
And you're like, getting away to where?
Yeah.
I own Dugtown. Like, it's like, ooh.
Yeah, you are in my domain now.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you can't get away from me.
It's futile, all of it. Like, it's a game to him.
He's just such a cool character because you know he loses a battle, but he's like, "I'm good. I'll get him." You know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's always a few steps ahead in his mind. No matter what's going on in the moment, I feel like he's calculating 50 different ingenious plans to win the day.
Of course, at the end of season 1, the Birdman, Pete the Sock Man,
yes,
this clawed-figured man wreaked havoc, right, and destroyed a bunch of fangs and other things. So he's been told to capture this family and also capture this Birdman. Right, he calls him. And so in episode 1, he captures him. So even though he's losing the Igiby family, he's still going back with a bit of a prize.
Right.
I think what's interesting, and this is a question we'll learn later in the season, I hope, is what do we think General Khrak will do with this Birdman?
Whatever it is, it's going to be well thought out.
Kellen, I don't know if you know this, but I played the other troll. With a speaking voice.
Cool.
And so I was able to drop my voice a little. I can't go where you can. I can go so far down.
Hey, that's fine. As far down as you can go.
Mine sounds like a younger, healthier troll next to your troll.
Great.
You know?
So he'll take over when my troll is all used up. Perfect. The troll business will go on.
They had a whole exactly. He's like an apprentice under troll.
This is how you properly beat up a little lizard. Watch, you go down. Not across. That way they'll fly away. No, you want to go down so they squat into the dirt.
Okay, so the giant rock roach comes up, just to remind everybody at home, and starts just knocking fangs out, like squishing them and making a mess of them. And General Khrak says, "Get Pete out of here. Get that Birdman out of here." So one troll walks away, my troll walks away, okay, and off he goes.
Yeah.
And then your troll stays and starts fighting the rockroach. And so there's this very short clip where he's punching the rockroach in the face. It's like it's Godzilla and Kong, right? They're like going at it. And evidently survives the rockroach because the two of them show up in episode 2. So either they called a truce, the rockroach and the troll. I mean, maybe the troll
stalemate.
Did the troll maybe knock out the rockroach?
Yeah. He heard like a meal bell sound off somewhere and thought that was the end of the match.
Gets a towel, dabs himself.
Yeah. Gets his little troll coach to massage his shoulders.
Troll coach. Oh my gosh. We got to get that guy on here. I don't have it with me, but we actually have, and I think it's your troll.
It's my troll?
We have a shirt that is of a troll, a Wingfeather
Really?
Saga. That's one of our trolls, and the quote is, "You didn't tell me there would be trolls," and it's this angry troll, and I'm pretty sure it's your troll.
Right on. Where can I buy it?
It's at.
Is there a store?
No. I will get one for you. I didn't. Nuts. I had it last week in our interview. I showed everybody the new shirt, and my gosh, that's so cool.
the little things we realize.
I don't know which troll you play. One's name is Froome, and one's name is Churley. I don't remember which one is which. So one has more narrow set eyes and one has wider. That's the only way I can tell them apart.
Mm, mm.
Do
they both have the nose rings?
No, only one has a nose ring. I think it's yours. I'm gonna find that out. I think it's your shirt, and if so, we'll get our crew to like sign one for you and send it to you. That'd be
I would
awesome.
love that. Thank you.
We have our season 2 poster.
Yeah.
And it's fantastic, of course. But looming in the poster at the top middle, in the bright light, is General Khrak. Like he's right there. He's just awesome. He's like he is the villain of season 2. Now there's other characters we're going to encounter, but General Khrak is the guy we got to be afraid of right out the gate. And
right on.
You do a good job of making him scary. I guess that's what I can say, right? It's a good job making him scary.
Yeah.
I'll take it. I'll absolutely take that.
Yeah.
I'm going to send you our season 2 poster, a signed T-shirt of a troll with some stickers. That's like the whole General Khrak experience.
That's so lovely of you. Thank you. I still have the book set. I'm reading through it slowly. I really appreciate you sending that to me as well.
Very good, man.
Thank you.
Kellen, of course, we loved everything you did in season 1. We're so sorry that we had to kill your character, Slarb, because he was a great character. But
all good.
He died
for the story, for the plot.
General Khrak is going to live on now. For now.
Yes. For now.
And of course, Jurgen has a long run. So Jurgen, he's all the way almost to the very end of the story. So you've got 5 more seasons of that guy.
Yay! I love that guy. He's the nice one. He's like the one nice guy you cast me.
That's right, exactly. Yeah, and I'm sure we'll find other characters for you along the journey. But we have so enjoyed having you on Wingfeather Saga. It's been awesome, Kellen, and thanks for taking a few minutes to chat with us. And
thanks for having me here and in the series.
That's right.
Love working with you guys. And congrats on season 2. Woo! Yeah.
Thanks, man.
What a dude.
He's a good guy. That guy.
He is a good dude.
Kellen has been in a lot of you recognized him from other animated series and of course video games and other things. So
I was gonna say we were talking about this earlier. I'm not a part of like that ecosystem, that world of like voiceover and gaming and that kind of stuff. And I've been on the road. I remember, I don't know if I told you this, we were maybe in the UK. I forget where we were, but there was a poster for some kind of convention. And he was one of the featured names. Like he was a guest that was. I was like, "Hey, that's guy. General Khrak." And then, like we were at an event at a university a couple weeks ago, and people like the animation team was geeking out that Kellen was on our show.
Yeah,
because they all know kind of all the stuff he does.
Yeah, he and Kari as well, who plays the Stonekeeper. She's got more to come in future episodes for sure. Did you know that Kari is she knows John Hendricks? They went to the same school.
Oh, I feel like maybe we talked about it. Completely
it's a funny
forgot
connection.
about that.
She's always asking about John.
Yeah. John Hendricks, great illustrator, has a new book coming out, by the way, called The Mythmakers, and it's about the friendship of Lewis and Tolkien.
Oh.
Yeah, it's very cool. So he's the guy who the Shining Isle Productions letters on our logo. He's the guy. That's his font.
Including this W right here.
Oh, yeah, he made the W.
For the Kickstarter.
Way back
in 2016.
And it's stuck. So
anyways, tangent. Okay, so we are going to take a whole bunch of your questions. There's been a bunch in the chat we're going to try to get to. There's a whole lot of discussion about Genera. Do you know about Genera?
Yes. Yes.
Jenna Merrily. Yeah. Okay. So that's going to come up for sure.
No, Jenna or Sarah, not Merrily.
Jenna Sarah, not Merrily. Yeah. Jenna Merrily.
Generally.
That's a different one. That's a conversation at the office among the crew a lot.
Really?
About, who should be connected with who. It's the whole thing. Anyways, we are so excited to welcome a special guest to the live stream tonight. And some of you may have encountered this person in various breakdowns and examinations of some of the materials that we have released over the last 2 seasons. Guesses at what we might be doing. There's some good guesses. Some good guesses, yeah. And we have not had a chance to speak directly, but tonight, for the first time on this live stream, we're going to welcome Elijah from Aerwiar Archives. Elijah, are you with us?
Hi.
Hey, there
Yes.
he is.
Hey, man.
How are you?
Nice to meet you. Yeah. I'm doing great. Yeah. I'm alive.
You made it.
Also, you chose not to wear the same shirt. I'm so glad. That's good.
Yes, look at us all wearing different merch.
Representing.
Yes.
That's good.
Good job, us. So we're going to be looking down here a little bit, Elijah, because you're down here. I know it looks rude because we're not looking up here, but that's just where your screen is. So just so you know. Elijah, good to have you. Thanks for jumping on. We have had a blast as a crew watching some of your videos and in your breakdowns, which are often quite good. Like you've really picked out the right things and your guesses about where you think you had a really good video on Area Archives. It's right there, season 2 predictions. They were pretty good.
Yeah, they were accurate.
Yeah,
some of them were a little creepily accurate. How did you know? How did you know?
That's because the books are out.
Oh, that's right. There's books.
Elijah, what have you? Let's get into it right away. Episode 2. How was that for you? And you can speak honestly. Like, did it land where you wanted it to?
It was just incredible. I don't know. Yes. In season 1, I have a few things I would critique. In season 2, it's really hard to find things. It's so great. I don't know.
Man, that's good to hear. I feel the same way. Yeah. Season 2 is rocking. I'm glad that you like it. That's amazing. Would you tell us? You would tell us, right?
You wouldn't lie to us. You wouldn't lie to the author sitting right here, would you?
I would.
That's great. So Elijah, I prompted you online, and it hasn't happened yet, and you apologize if you got on here, but I was looking for your trailer breakdown. We released that amazing trailer, and we were chatting about this earlier, but school's been taking too much time for that to happen. Is that right?
Yeah, all sorts of stuff, but it's coming. Okay. Don't worry.
Okay.
So tell us a little bit about yourself. Are you in high school?
I am in high school. I'm a sophomore.
Okay.
Awesome.
I moved out here to beautiful Washington last year.
Washington State?
That's great.
Nice.
Washington State.
And how do you find time to make these videos? But they're pretty involved.
Yeah.
I start all sorts of projects. That's just kind of the person I am. And I finish a few of them. And these are the ones that I'm motivated to finish.
When did you first encounter the Wingfeather Saga story? What was your first run-in?
I first encountered it, I think it was 2020. I think it was with the new reprints. That was the first I got. And I'll admit, right away, I did not read them. I waited to read them as a family because I think that's the best way to enjoy them.
Did your family read them aloud? Like, you mean like that?
We read them, and I totally recommend it to anybody out there. So,
who actually did the reading? Was it your parents or like who actually?
My dad did the reading, and at the end, he's just sobbing so much that my mom had to help, and then she started sobbing, so I had to finish the story out, and it was great.
Oh. That's unbelievable. That makes me so happy.
It's like handing it off.
I love making people cry. That's so good. I had this bizarre, that just reminded me, where was I? I was at a show and where was I? Doesn't matter. But there was a family that had been reading the books and they saved the last chapter. Am I remembering this right? Forget the story. I'm messing the details up. I'm trying to remember. Oh no, I'm remembering now. There was a family that contacted me, and I forget what the connection was, but they asked me to be the one to read the final chapter to their family.
The story. Yeah.
And so I got to be there in person and read the ending of the books in the Zoom call with the family. And it was just this, I was going to say it was something I'll never forget, but I couldn't remember the details. So maybe I did forget, but it was just like, as the author, I'd never get to be there in the room when that happens. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I wish I could have seen you and your mom and your dad all crying. Wait, did you say you cried?
I did cry. And we read.
You did cry. Okay, good.
We read it again.
That's good.
I cried harder the second time.
Because you know it's coming. The second time I read it, Elijah, to my younger kids, Calvin, Elijah, who are now 17, 15, I I was at Tom Owen's place, who directed the short film, and I was sitting on his back porch. We were traveling to pitch the show or whatever out in LA, and I had the books. I had to finish the read out, and we were in maybe in the end of Monster, and I'm on the back porch just crying, trying to read to them on FaceTime, whatever. And it was like so embarrassing. And Tom's out there. You want some iced tea? Tom, I'm in the middle of no. Okay, man. I'm just gonna.
Oh, that's so funny.
But yeah, that's a beautiful story. So speaking of, we had this really emotional scene, Elijah, in episode 2 of Nugget, and we got to see that at the red carpet event here in Nashville, and there were just little guys around us sniffling and like, what's going on? Is Nugget okay? Is Nugget swimming? Was one kid behind me? It's
that's the saddest question I've ever heard.
So why, as an author, obviously there are times to have those kind of things happen. Why in this part of the story did you feel that this was a necessary kind of propulsion in the story?
That's a good question. I'm not sure I know how to answer the question. I was thinking about this at the beginning of this episode when Tink sees the steps and nobody else could see them. I was thinking about when I was sitting in the coffee shop working on that scene, and it kind of encapsulates a lot of how I wrote the books, which is that I didn't know what was going to happen next so much of the time. Like I had this vague sense that there might be a bridge, but I was like, when they get there, is the bridge going to be broken or is it going to be whole? What are they going to do? So one of a book on writing that I read said that what you do when you write a story is you chase your main character up a tree and then you throw rocks at them to find out how they're going to get out. So it's kind of this writing principle that you write your characters into a corner and then you wait to see what's going to happen. And that sounds kind of crazy, but this was an example of that. And so I don't think I realized what was going to happen to Nugget until it happened. But I do know, like in a more of a mercenary way, I'll say two things. In one way, I don't know how the story would have worked. What would they have done with Nugget when they were in Dugtown? Logistically, I have no idea.
Would he fit in a burrow?
What would have happened? How would they have gotten
in the ice prairies? Would he fit in a boggin?
But I will say that there was one of my favorite. I may have shared this on here before, but Wingfeather moments was I was in England a couple of years ago, and there was this dad who brought his little girl, and they had just finished reading that scene, or maybe they'd finished the end of book 2, and he was like, my daughter has a question for you. And she said, Mr. Peterson, in this little sweet British accent, she said, why did you kill Nugget? And she had big tears in her eyes, and I said, oh sweetie, I didn't kill Nugget, the Fangs killed Nugget. And her dad was an apologetics guy. He was an apologist. He was like, you just gave me a way to talk about the problem of evil. And so it's not airtight, but there is a sense in which, like, I, as the author, you can't dig into the analogy too much, but in the confines of the story, the Fangs killed Nugget, right? That's what happened. Yeah. The author didn't do it. Like, I wrote a world in which this thing happened. And I'm guiding this world, but also sometimes there's something about Lily's heart that needed to grow. And also something maybe in our hearts that needed to grow by seeing a moment of sacrificial love, even if it was a dog.
I'll comment, Elijah, I want to get to some of your questions. I hope you have some good ones, but I'll comment that I was mindful in the larger story of our trolls. So there are other trolls late in the story that you get to meet who are awesome. And we thought about these trolls and their design, and even you heard us talking with Kellen just there, that these are trolls who have been enlisted. They've been kind of forced into some sort of service, made angry in ways that maybe they wouldn't be naturally, right? If you read it, much like the horned hounds.
Well, just like people, there's good people and there's bad people in this world.
And these trolls are ones that got pushed into some things. So we struggled a little bit in some of the versions of that bridge sequence of feeling a little bit of pity for them. And we had to kind of balance that out, including, we talked about this before, but Elijah, I don't know what you thought of this, but the chucking of the fangs
across the gap.
and of course,
it was so fun at the premiere hearing people laugh at that moment. It was good.
It was best. And then Elijah, we did use Wilhelm scream that's where it showed up.
Yes.
So
Really noticed that. Other people did too.
what are some of your questions, Elijah? Hit us with your hardest stuff. Go for it.
All right. Well, I have so much here. I don't know what to say. So the scene with Poto and Khrak that you have in that episode. Yeah. How did you come up with that whole scene? I mean, Poto's has this gripping moment, his weakened will. He's struggling with his fear of the sea, and it seems like Khrak knows that he's the family's backbone, and he starts kind of tempting him to surrender. He's taking advantage of that fear. I just thought it was fascinating. It's very well written. So I wanted to know how you came into that.
Yeah, well, it was a couple things at once. One, we needed to break up the bridge sequence into some vignettes, right, to kind of be able to go to and from different moments. So that was structurally we needed to get that done, and then we really wanted to build up Poto's anxiety at being so close to the sea, and obviously this kind of misplaced fear of Jurgen lurking below, right, and his imagination running wild with the gaping jaws of a sea dragon. And playing around with his peg leg on wet slippery rocks. And Khrak is smart. I think it's one of the things we loved about working with that character, knowing he was going to get to stay with us through a number of seasons, right? In his arc. Let's build him up as really crafty. And so then from there it was just building out the staging, which like I said in my time with Kellen, just figuring out a way to get this really cool bit of monologuing between them while striking fear. And so our episode director, John, and then Tamal, we worked out the blocking of that, knowing they're going to stay up near the top. He'll be the rear guard. And then the shooting of it, I just loved. So you really get to get an understanding of what Poto fears most, right? Which is losing the family and him being responsible for that. And I think Elijah building into, there's hurts everywhere, right? Losing his wife, obviously, in the attack as they fled, and wanting to blame Pete for that, as well as then the fear of does he going to screw it up again, right? Is something bad going to happen again? And they've gone to a dead end. There's a lot going on here, and I think we really wanted to stir the pot emotionally. So there was a lot of breaking out of, Oscar feeding the fire of, hey, the king can make a choice here, and I believe in the myth, right? So you're going to see this across all of season 2, Elijah, but we're going to feed the two lines, right, where Oscar's like digging into the first book, and really the myth, the Shining Isle can rise again, and like he's kind of going that way with it, and Kalmar could be king again, right? And Poto's like, dude, we got to survive this bridge. We got to survive this waterfall. Like the real world is on us right now. Stop filling their minds with all these other things. So there's a real tension you're going to see emerging through the whole season, which is going to pressure Kalmar, right? And so that's all kind of designed. So we need to see Poto under a lot of intense pressure here, and then the relief of getting out of it. He won't change. He's going to stay in the tactic of we got to survive the next thing and the next thing. And so you'll see this in the next episode too. Surviving that.
Yeah, I would just say that we're trying to raise a lot of questions about Poto's past in this whole season. And if you've read book 2, which I know you have, that's a big theme of kind of the end of book 2. And so this is the first real clear moment where you realize, wait, what's going on with Poto? Why he's a pirate? Why is he so afraid of the sea? And so, and there's also a great line in episode 1 where Nia says the thing about how he's lived stories that he's never told, that whole thing. Mm-hmm. So we're planting those seeds. So this scene was a graceful way to raise the question of what is going on inside Poto.
Yeah.
I just love the foreshadowing. It's so fun to see.
Yeah, it's pretty fun, is it? Yeah.
There's so many different parts of the story, because when you were writing them, right, you wrote them, like you said, you didn't know what happened next. So you wrote it right after each other.
Sort of.
But now you could go back and you can write it backwards. And I'm sure that's
exactly. That's what's so fun about making this show, is that like we know the ending of the story now. And so we can just like liberally kind of go back and just sprinkle as much as we want in there. I had like vague notions of where this thing was going, but I didn't know with the level of specificity that we have now,
What other questions do you have, Elijah? What's your next one?
Well, watching the trailer, I have some questions for later. So we do some of those.
We'll do our best, and we're going to try to not spoil things, but let's go for it.
Yeah, going for Genera like people want. Sarah's been through a lot. Jenner's also been through a lot once he finally sees her again, like we see in the trailer. So you might think they'd reunite right away, just start working together, but not necessarily, right? So you tell a bit more about that?
Yeah, so the clip in the trailer obviously is jumping forward a touch, with her putting her hand on his. And that moment is there's decisions that Jenner has to make to try to drive forward what he's wanting to see happen in the Fork Factory. And she understands what those decisions are and what it'll cost. And so I'll just kind of give you a hint about what that's doing. But yeah, no, we absolutely have her she has to go through her own arc. And I think that was actually one of the challenging things that we ran into was how we could motivate her decision. In the books, it just kind of describes her making that decision to participate and help in what's going to happen there. Trying to be a little bit cagey. And we needed to get into giving her some motivation. So there is some change of that, I'll just say, over the course of a little mini arc over a couple episodes that she has to go through in kind of what Janet ultimately going to do. We also took the opportunity to go ahead and, again, try to pull forward characters that we're going to know, right? So like Borley and of course Wallace and some of these that we're going to know. So we may as well get them established now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Everyone's going through, and is that Borley? Is this Borley?
I know.
Sorry,
yeah, you'll know when you finally meet him. It'll be like, oh, that's definitely Borley.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I want to talk about the Overseer for just a second, especially Billy Boy's performance. I thought I'd hear too much of Pippin in there, but I don't. I just hear this this thick, breathy. It's probably all that smoke in the factory. That's why his voice is like that. Stuff will ruin your lungs. But it's so impressive. All the voice talent is so good. Eva's perfect for Merrily. Chris, your troll voice is great. Oscar as well.
Wait, thank you. Very, very kind. Very kind.
Is there one more huge voice coming? You still have to announce
that. Yeah. Yeah, you heard his voice in the trailer. I'm surprised you haven't gone right to it.
I have no idea with voices. I can't take out.
I know. I was kind of excited to put that in the trailer. I was thinking about you guys because he has a full line, a couple lines actually, and to see if you guys could. There's probably some AI that could figure out who that voice is.
I could tell you. I could give you a hint that could send you Googling. The accent that he's using.
Oh yeah.
Is his native accent.
Yep.
And he can do many accents, and he tested a lot of them when in the audition and even in the session. But we ended up just kind of saying, you know what, just go Welsh. Just use your native Welsh accent. So There's a hint.
There's a hint.
He's from Wales.
Yep. We have so many British actors on our show. So next week on Tuesday, just to get ahead of it, we have an interview with Eva, who plays Merrily, and Will, who plays Claxton. And London and Ireland is where they're from, and it's going to be great. You're going to love it.
They are so good. Yeah,
they are so talented. But the voice casting, I think, is one of the things I'm particularly proud of, and we do hear from folks in the distribution side and other places are like, your voice cast is amazing, and I'm like, thank you. And that they're delivering really authentic performances. It's something that, of course, Andrew has a lot of sensitivity to, and I aligned there, where this is one thing that we love is make it real. I got to believe that character is real, and it's great because there's a checks and balances, Elijah, that I'll be in the booth sometimes and getting a performance and feel really confident, and then we'll put it in the animatic, and then Andrew then gets to watch and listen to it objectively, right, a little outside, and go, that's false right there. and he's right, but sometimes I get too close to the sauce.
So they record like many takes of these lines, and so I'll be like, ooh, could we get an alternative take of him saying this where he's not sounding so angry or he's not sounding so whatever, so they'll go back and like slip another one in.
Yep. And it helps us to kind of keep that balance in there.
Yeah.
So the auditions, you would have loved it, but the auditions that we got from Billy were just like right there.
Yes.
Like, I mean, it was that we didn't push. That was like what he gave us.
Yep.
And it came up because remember Ned said, "Hey, I'm thinking about Billy. What do you think?" I'm like, maybe. Like I didn't have a lot of imagination for it. And then he submitted it as an audition. Same with our character who plays Lord Sword. When he auditioned, that was one that Ned pushed. He's like, "Hey, I really think you should listen to this guy."
Yeah.
And he pushed him in there like, oh my, and he was all in. Like it wasn't like a kind of audition.
Sweating in the studio because he was working so hard.
We're giving it to you. Which I think that's something that we love, Elijah, is when we get people that are like really committed to giving these performances. And not a lot of TV shows, they don't do that. They just show up, they read a thing, they get out. And as you heard from Kellen, and you'll hear this from other actors this season as we interview them, but it's the material, which, for us is because we're pulling from a great book. We get to really, and yes, our writers do great work, but because you pull in these rich, we don't get to get all of them. We get some of them, kind of sift our hands through and get the good stuff that we can condense into a script, right? That works for us. But those are what make those really compelling for the actors. And they go hard. It's great.
What other questions you got?
Well, I kind of want to stick with the voice because everything in the trailer hit me so hard, especially Griffin and Alkeo, who play Tink and Janner. Griffin with, what if I don't want to be king? His voice has this edge to it, this indignation. It's just incredible. Because now they're the Jewels of Venera in season 1. We figure out that they're the Jewels of Venera, and in season 2, well, what does that mean? And, well, first of all, they don't always want to do it, right? They all in episode 1 and episode 2, they all kind of struggle with it. Even Lily's not confident in her gifts. So that's just so great to see. Makes the character so believable.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Griffin has just done such a great job. And you guys have noted this, obviously. He's getting a little older. His voice is changing a little bit. And so in some of the live streams he's been a part of, you can hear that little sound of his voice. But his performance for this season was all exactly where it needed to be.
Yep.
And he has just great intuition for where the scene needs to go.
Mm-hmm.
He's one of our fastest.
Yep.
We're in the booth.
He gets the make it real thing really easily.
He does.
Very naturally, too.
Yep. Yeah, so I'm glad you're picking up on that.
And Alkeo with I Failed the King. That is so heavy.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah,
wow.
That's great.
I'm so looking forward to seeing that. I mean, it's a horrible and amazing, great scene. Yeah.
Hey, what did you think of the coffin? Obviously, we're showing you the coffin. You okay with that?
Yeah, I'm totally fine with that. It would be a little hard. There's a few problems with it if you bring it over right away, exactly how it is in the books. But it still has the same emotional weight, which is really the part I care about. Just seeing him in there. Yeah, I just think it's great.
Good.
Great.
Looking forward to it.
We want to make you happy.
That's right. What other questions you got? And we got some people in the chat throwing questions too. So,
well, we also see later Kalmar enjoying his kingly treatment with the strangers. I mean, he's a child. He's being very childish. He wants the benefits and the glory of being a king, but he doesn't want any of the responsibility or the suffering. And Janner's looking over. He's like, I don't think that's how I would be king if I were king. But he wants to.
So what you just described is, you just described it spot on, which is that Tink is being irresponsible and maybe Janner's being self-righteous. Maybe Janner's being a little bit judgmental, kind of like a little older brother-y about it. Yeah, you hit the nail on the head.
Hey, I just saw this comment. Joshua says, do you have any plans of doing a flashback of the fall of Venera? It's so interesting you said that because I just had a note from Sam, who's our lead animator, asking, hey, could we do a flashback in season 4? He wanted to could we do a flashback to it in its thriving before we then see it burned, right?
I don't know.
And I was like, oh, that's so interesting.
It's an interesting idea. We shall think on these things.
Yeah. We have not gotten into season 4.
If Elijah says to do it, we'll just do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Foreshadowing, flashbacks, splash forward, whatever.
Yeah, that's great.
We'll see. Yeah. Let's see, what else? I think the pacing was really well done in episode 2, I'll say that. There's, like you said, there's time to breathe after the loss. Just time to grieve. With Oscar, there's time with the training, the chase. Well, now I'm going back to episode 1.
Episode 1, they kind of play together, don't they? Yeah.
Yeah, it's so hard in my mind because it's like an extension of episode 1, but you're giving so much time to this crucial part of the story. Yeah, and it's most people's favorite episode so far. Like, they just keep getting better as you're learning.
Wait do you see episode 3?
Which can I just say, like, that's one of the advantages of doing it the way we're doing it. Like, episodic, like, TV show means that you can choose to spend time on stuff like that if you want, You're trying to cram the whole thing into a 90-minute movie. There's just no way to, like, rest in some of those moments, but it's such a gift to have the freedom to do that.
Yep. Let's get to a couple questions. Elijah, stay with us, and let's take some questions from the folks out there. You may have the answer for it. I don't know. What do we have going on there? There it is. Oh, this is a question for you. What's your favorite episode?
My favorite episode. So, although I just said I liked episode 2 a lot, I think episode 1 was just very well done. There's so much packed in there. Of season 2, yes.
Yeah.
It just hits you over and over. So much action in episode 1.
It's great.
That's fun. Yeah. Mr. Peterson, Epic Early, asks, what is one scene or chapter in book 2 that gave you major writer's block? Was there any of that?
I don't remember having any writer's block in book 2 because I was writing in a white hot panic. I was trying to cram the writing of the book in between tours and had a tight deadline, and I didn't have the option of writer's block. So I don't think there was any. Yeah.
That's cool. What else we got? I see Omega in the chat saying, will you leave the longer it sits, the worse it gets? Definitely. It's definitely in there.
We actually, and the same thing, I love that some people pointed out in the trailer that we got the exclamation points in the Fork Factory sign. I kept saying that, like, because a few of the iterations didn't have it. I was like, we've got to have the exclamation points. If they're not in there, we're going to miss out on, like, a key joke.
Yeah. People keep asking, Elijah, and Fizz just posted this, but, like, are we going to show other Fangs? Let's put it that way. In season 2.
Perhaps.
Should we? Perhaps.
Maybe that's just a reason to keep watching.
You got to keep watching. That's all I'm going to say. Yeah. Okay. Sorry. You had one up there for us, Garrett. Evan says, Chris, if you're there, is there going to be more singing from Nia, Jodie Benson? Not in season 2. Not in season 2. We certainly, there will, but in 2 we just have our very special song, which if you guys watched the red carpet event, if you haven't watched that, please go check it out. It's
really great.
It's about an hour of what we experienced that night. And Heather Wall, who's over here, helped produce it and just did an incredible job pulling it together. It's if you watch it live that Friday evening, it's actually been refined since then and tightened up a little bit and added some cool stuff, some more interviews that maybe you didn't see. It's out there in the guild, and
but one of the songs is the
Carry the Fire.
Carry the Fire.
Yep. Yeah. Which will show up. I forgot to say this. We just had a meeting earlier about what we might do with that song in episode 6.
Ooh.
Yeah. There's a cool moment. I think you'll
interesting. Okay, that's fun.
Really cool.
Yeah. So Carry the Fire is on one of my albums
involving.
That's going to be the closing credits song for the last episode of season 2. And we had the amazing Taylor Linhart come in and sing it. There's this epic kind of cinematic version of the song.
Yep.
Yeah.
Emily
I heard
asks, was it hard toning down the intensity of the fork factory?
Thank you for adding the exclamation points, Emily.
We didn't tone it down. I mean, honestly, it's pretty hard. Yeah,
it's pretty rough. Yeah,
you know, Elijah, as you know, in the books, the overseer's scary for his whip. We never show him actually beating a child. Let's put it that way. Like the idea is that whip is being used, right? But we don't go there. So, but otherwise, you know, it's a pretty harsh environment to be in. So we didn't. Yeah, I don't feel like we toned it down. We talked about the coffin already.
The
obviously.
coffin, changing it from a coffin to a box was important.
But no, we tried to let it just be, you know, obviously thinking of Oliver Twist, thinking of Dickensian London was definitely the inspiration for Dugtown, mixing it with kind of a harbor town, you know, so in the design that Garrett Taylor and the team did, it was getting that. It all just feels heavy, you know.
Yeah.
Sonderwalk, I'm sorry, I saw your note. Is Nicholas Cole still involved? Nicholas has a lot of other jobs, unfortunately, and so he's only tapping in now and then for some character designs. So he has done some of the designs in season 2, but is more limited now.
Yep.
Did a particular design of a character for season 3, a very important character.
That's right. He's great, though.
That you'll get to see, but yeah. What other questions?
I want to know this answer.
Elijah, how does it feel to be on the Wingfeather live stream? Everybody keeps asking. So Sophie wants to know.
Tell us, Elijah, how do you feel right now?
Right now, I'm comfortable. It's a little hard to start. You know it.
That's good. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, man. YouTube right now, for everybody watching, is doing a commercial. Ugh. Why does it do commercials the worst? Okay. Someone popped up. What breed is Nugget, the dog? Oh, gosh. Go watch the live stream with Nicholas Cole, because he describes actually.
Does he really?
Yeah.
Huh.
He was in a coffee shop one day, and that actual dog was sitting in front of him. Some person had it. He's like, ooh. And it's, oh, shoot. I don't remember what it is.
Big Nugget looks like a Bernese Mountain Dog.
Yeah.
So let's just go with that. It was
a little Nugget. He says in that, and I don't remember which one he drew from. But the dog looked just like that. He took a little picture of the dog. So there's a learn how to draw Nugget YouTube.
Saggy hound. Nice. Baby Peterson flexing.
There's watch that live stream and with him, and he describes it. So yeah. All right, Elijah, you get another question. What you got?
I don't know. Let's see. I just want to know more about the process of translating Nugget's death to the screen. I mean, how difficult was it to portray those strong emotions? Now, it's a mix of the acting and the soundtrack and the animation. Mm-hmm. I just want to know how you bring it to us.
Gosh, lots of layers.
The first thing that popped into my mind was in the mix session. Remember in the mix session, we went back and forth on what the music was should be doing there, you know, because I feel like that maybe the first version, the music was really like loud, and we kind of had the idea of the music kind of cutting right at the leap, and there being like this quiet, you know, high string kind of thing happening. So we tried. It was iterative. Like we just tried several different versions of that whole thing until we got it. Like little things like the look on Nugget's face right as he's falling. Him hitting the water.
Hitting the water, getting knocked away was very late. We actually
make sure we showed this actually happened. Yeah,
we reshot portions of that bit, the build up, right near the end. Keith got in there and we just restaged the camera, just wanting to get where, you know, Nugget's leap and him biting his foot and kind of how that all played out. We added the sword in animation. Sam and Ron added the sword getting knocked out of Poto's hand. That was a late thing, just kind of trying to build up the momentum of the scene, and it's just a lot of working it, and it honestly doesn't work for a long time. And one of the things about animation you have to be very patient with, Elijah, is that you read it in a book, you read it in the script, I may even put it in my scratch voice, and you hear it in an animatic, and then you see it and it doesn't work, but it was just working. I know, but in this format it didn't work. And you have to be you have to be okay with that. And I think one of the things that Andrew's been great at is in that translation, the version that doesn't work. Wow, this is a hot mess. This doesn't work at all. Yep, we know. Okay, let's keep working. And you gotta find it. And there were a lot of moments in episode 2 that were like, this is not there yet. And sometimes
honestly, I think that's the most difficult part of the job. Like when it works the first time, it's like a miracle. Like you're just like, oh my goodness. Songwriting's the same way. Like when you kind of go into the studio with this song and you record your version of it, everybody in the room knows if it's working or not. You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's like this elephant in the room. And it's like when it isn't working, you think it feels like an impossible task.
Mm-hmm.
It feels impossible to figure out how do we get from this thing that is invisible as far as songs go to being a thing that actually moves somebody's heart.
Gosh.
You know? And so stories are the same. It's just like,
and there's so many dials to tweak here. Is it an animation thing? Is it a sound design? Is it a score thing? Is it a camera thing? Or is the moment wrong?
Or is it working and we're just so tired
is
of
it working and we've been sitting too long?
Sometimes you're like, I think we're off here, and then somebody comes out in from the outside and is like, this is amazing.
You're like, so great. It totally was amazing. Leave it alone.
A huge mystery. The whole
time is your friend. I will tell you, Elijah, one of the things that we have really, I know it took a long time to get season 2 for a couple reasons, but we have given ourselves the advantage of time. So we can have iterations to have a few whacks at it, right? To get it where it's right, so that we give room for when it's wrong. Episode 3, I will tell you, I think fell together probably the easiest of these episodes. It just kind of knew what it needed to be from the get-go. Like that one really, we knew where it was going. But 2, we spent so much of our time and energy getting it right. And because it was not right, we had, working out like geography problems and then motivations and characters and time. And then we get it. And there it is. Yeah. There's also a version, I should tell you, where episodes 1, 2, and 3, that's the one we watched at the premiere, just plays seamlessly. You just go from the end of one to the beginning of the other and just whoop, straight through, and it's awesome. So
it feels like
when the 3rd episode comes out, you should do this, go watch it again, and then just when the credits, just skip right to the next episode, and you'll see they actually hook up almost seamlessly.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
I noticed that. So excited for episode 3. I love Nurgabog.
Oh,
you're gonna love Nurgabog.
She got the biggest reaction at the premiere.
Yep, definitely.
Yeah, I can't wait to hear that performance. The look on her face when she's being flirtatious with Poto. Poto isn't having any of it. It's bushy
so
eyebrows.
Yeah,
so good.
That's good.
All right, Garrett, what are the questions you got in your queue? Let's grab a couple more, then we need to wrap up our time.
That's one of them.
That's your question. What?
The answer is a definite yes, and it's as horrifying as you can imagine.
Yep, it's a great moment. I can't wait for you guys to see it. It's so, oh my gosh,
it was great. I mean, in the premiere when it was several hundred people watching all together, the reaction was priceless. It was great.
Yep, that's great. All right, what else you got, Garrett? Anything else in there? Maybe get a couple more here. Did we hear Moberg's voice in the trailer? Yes, absolutely. And that voice, Raise the Gate, is our dear friend Christopher Robin Miller, who played Commander Norm,
yeah,
in season 1. Just such a talented performer, and so we moved him over to play a Ridge Runner, and he just does a great job with it.
Yes, Norman Bob.
He does such a great job that I forgot it was him until just now.
That's right. Yeah,
that's amazing.
That's great. Hey, Elijah, Chris, and Mr. Peterson, who's your favorite Fang that's alive right now?
Like,
because the season 1 guys are
alive in the story. Okay, got it. My favorite Fang who's alive right now.
I mean,
I know my answer. In episode 1, whenever Khrak shows up in Glipwood, at the very beginning of episode 1, and the kind of tough one, the stocky Fang, comes up, and he says, he's like, "Well, it's a big forest, that guy." I love that delivery. It reminded me so much of a stormtrooper in Star Wars, like the way they would have talked. It was so great to me. So he's my fave.
That's.
I don't think he has a name, but I love him.
Yeah, I think that was Adam voicing that. Adam
really?
Seitz. Yeah,
that's so good.
He
just
is
right.
A mess, man. Yeah. All right, last question. And Digital Fairy, no, we don't have a casting for the Nameless One's voice yet. So yeah, there's a couple characters before then. Jonathan, how are you, man? How's progress on season 3? Season 3, we have seen animatics. There are 6 episodes in season 3, which takes us to the end of book 2.
Oh my goodness!
And it is all, we call season 3 the Ice Prairies season. It is all Ice Prairies all the time, basically. We also wrap up some things at the Fork Factory in season 3. We have seen animatics for 3 out of the 6. We've seen a rough animatic for episode 4, but only a rough one. Episode 4 involves a certain battle.
Oh my goodness,
y'all!
It's huge. Yeah, it's so good.
Season 3 is on hold. We are hoping to greenlight it and start again, but it is on hold while we get season 2 out into the world. And we are looking for ways to make sure we have the revenue, the money we need out of season 1 and 2 to help pay for season 3. So I know that it's been difficult for a lot of you. You get to watch season 1 for free with Angel. But season 2, we've decided to use the Wingfeather Guild as a way for you to come alongside and help us. Many of you have paid it forward, and that's awesome. You've bought some of these shirts and other things, and that absolutely goes to helping us fund season 3, but we need to do some more. And so we're hoping that over the course of season 2 releasing, that'll tip the scales, and we'll be able to say, great, we can greenlight season 3 to move back into production. But for the time being, that crew is taking a break. And it's been celebratory to see season 2 go out in the world, but also a little sad to take a break. That's common in production. You finish a season and take a break, but we'd love to be working on season 3, and with your help, we can get there. So people keep asking, how can we help? It's really simple. Please support us by joining the Wingfeather Guild. That is a huge part of that. But the other is tell your friends. A lot of folks don't know about the show, don't know it's even out, and maybe haven't seen season 1, but certainly aren't aware of season 2. Word of mouth does a lot. So if you think of that right now, and you can go say, hey, I'm going to get 10 of my friends, and I'm going to text them, I'm going to email them, whatever, and say, guys, we'll invite them to come over, watch it with them. What we know is everybody who has watched through season 1, or even just a couple episodes of season 1, loves the show. That's been amazing. We have not found people that are like, yeah, the show's okay. I mean, once they've watched through, they're like, oh my gosh, this thing is, you're telling a really amazing story. I'm like, I know, he told a great story. We get to tell it together. So that's the best is telling your friends. So if that's email or text or whatever that is for you, helping to amplify that. There's lots of things to watch. There's lots of things to be a part of. And I'm sure Wingfeather's on some lists, but maybe hasn't made it through. That's definitely the first way you can help.
I will say for y'all, there's a great deal on the store where you get $5 a month for 3 months, and you get the DVD and Blu-ray. So even if you don't have a way to play this thing, you can just give it to a friend, and then that's a great way to show them and then their family about the show. Just
Awesome.
The whole perfect thing.
Yeah, thank you, Elijah.
Yep, that's exactly right. Yeah. There's some cool bundles out there for folks that exactly that. Somebody had asked about, could we gift a guild subscription to someone? We haven't figured that out yet, but those are great ideas. And yes, so the idea is just like so movies in theaters, right? And so maybe you don't want to go see it in theaters because it's expensive, but you're going to wait and you're going to maybe rent it when it's available. Okay. And those early rentals are kind of expensive, or you're going to go buy the Blu-ray DVD and get a digital copy, right? Or you're going to wait until it's streaming on one of the platforms that you already have, right? Do you understand that sequence? Same thing we're doing here. So right now it's in the guild. It's kind of like, you got to pay to support the show and get to see it. It will then be on Blu-ray DVD and digital copy available if you want to buy it that way. And then it will be a part of Angel Studios on the free side. So that's kind of the sequencing we're going through to see if we can drum up enough revenue to get us into season 3 at full speed. Okay. So yeah, that's the thing.
That's how it works.
All right. We have got a really cool clip coming up here for episode 3 that you're going to love. And next week, of course, we're going to come back with Collectibles. We showed that at the beginning of our time together. It's a cool way to bring the show home. If you wanted a signed copy of the books or a DVD, this is kind of another way to experience that in a similar way. So next week on Tuesday, be sure to join us. But this Friday, new episode. Every Friday, we got a new episode. This Friday is episode 3. And the episode title, do you remember the episode title? I don't know if you see it.
Stranded.
That is the episode title. Every Tuesday, we're going to tell you what the episode title is. And we're going to give you a sneak clip of this. and say our goodnight. But hey, Elijah, thank you for taking the time to join us.
Yes,
so good to have you,
Elijah.
Thank you for what you're doing with Area Archives. We have so much fun, and glad you could spend time with us tonight. Yeah, dude, it's great.
I'm glad to be here. Yeah. Thanks for struggling with me through it.
Not at all.
Not
You did
at all.
great.
Great
Good questions. Good comments, too.
Thank you.
Everybody at home, enjoy this sneak peek at episode 3, and we will see you next week. Good night.
See ya.
Can you please not catch the book on fire? You know what your problem is? You're too serious. Ooh. Relax. Eat some eggs. We're finally somewhere safe.
No drill! To the cow!
Fangs?
No. Stranders.
Oh. I didn't think they would be a problem yet.
Stranders? Who are they?
We need to get moving. Now! We stay off the road as long as we can.
What's a strander?
People we want to avoid.
But what are they?
Cutthroats and thieves. They live more like animals than people.
Have you met them?
Keep up, you two.
I thought the maker himself wrote the first books.
Well, the first epic was 5,000 years ago, so no one knows for sure. Another theory is that the books were written by Will, the second son.
Ouster Will! Ooh, wah, scary.
Yes, Ouster Will, who caused all manner of problems.
He tickles your neck like a spider's twine, smells like the sweat of a snorting swine, shivers your bones and rattles your spine, grins in the dark of the windowsill. It's Ouster Will. It's Ouster Will. When I was a girl in the Green Hollows, we told plenty of scary stories about Ouster Will.
Oh, the story goes that Will killed his own father. He wanted control of the first well and all its healing powers in the center of the First Kingdom. Many believe the first books were Ouster Will's record of the secrets he discovered. Secrets of creation itself.
Or it's all fluff and nonsense. Let's focus on moving your boots faster so we can get to Dugtown.